Hey, almost the end of the day, man. Saturday has been unreal. And let me tell you, I'm excited as never have been before. And we talked about so many things today that is unreal. I hope that this gets you excited about changing, about reinventing yourself. Basically, I'm just going to share a little bit of my page here on Instagram. A winner is just a loser that tries one more time. And let me tell you, I will keep on trying and keep on trying until I win. I remember one day, we had, somebody called um, Art Williams that said, all you can do is all you can do, but all you can do better be enough. And, even though, some people are young, some people are older, you have to fight till the last breath. And, and I just want to share this. My promise to you is that I will not quit until I'm living the life I dream of. And I hope you too can say the same. And I'm just going to bring back my good friend here, Efrosini. I haven't met her yet, but I still think that this is family, and I've seen him so much on so many videos, and she's going to bring the last speaker of the day. Okay, so let's bring it back. Go ahead, Efrosini.
Think of a better way to literally introduce this next speaker. This next individual was one of the first people that inspired me in 2009 when I went to my first training. He probably doesn't know this because at the time it was my first training. I was a few days into the business. And I remember walking into a room of 1,000 people in Los Angeles and Burbank. And I thought back then 1,000 people was like, wow, this is such a big event. And he was up on stage and he was talking about the freedom lifestyle. He was talking about the fact that before World Ventures, he was an anesthesiologist working ridiculous amounts of hours. But because of this company, it enabled him to get his time back. It enabled him to walk away from a career that is literally one of the most well-paid careers in the world. But unfortunately, in our world, sometimes you can make really good money from a job, but it comes at a cost of something else. And because of our company, he made the decision that now that he's got freedom, that him and his beautiful wife were able to adopt a little baby boy and become a family, something that would not have been really possible had it not been for our company. And I remember listening to this story, and I was sitting in the audience. I was just a nobody at the time. And listened to his story, and I thought, wow, like not only his life changed, but his family's life, his little boy's life, and thousands of other, not only his life changed, but his family's life, his little boy's life, and thousands of other people that are now being inspired because of this gentleman. But there's one of the many things that I really respect about this individual is that when he got to IMD, his belief is that it's not just about getting to a certain level, but it's about how many other people you can help to get to that level as well. So he keeps on leading the way from the front. He's there in the trenches. Even now, he'll probably share with you in his story. Recently, he had some big challenges that for good reason, he may have actually had to miss a season. But even though he had some difficult challenges, he was there at the events, always serving. And he's not financially incentivized in order to support us, to help us, but many times he's come on calls, many times he's come over and trained in different markets because he loves helping other people. So I'm very excited, I'm very privileged to host and bring this individual up who's a quadruple IMD in our company, one of the founding members, one of the gentlemen that paved the way for the rest of us to follow. Quadruple IMD, Mr. Troy Brown, we're ready for you.
Yes, we are.
All right. Can you hear me, Efrosini?
Perfectly.
Am I on the screen yet? There we go. There we go. Hello, everybody. Troy Brown here. Efrosini, thank you so much for that. I appreciate the introduction. I'm here in Oklahoma in the United States, and I know we got people from around the world on this call, and I'm excited to be here. I'm just like you, a lot of you, I've been kind of in my home, in my office for the last couple of months doing our business, and that's one of the great things about our business is that we can do it from right here. Now, I can't wait to get back amongst the people because we are in the people business. We are in the relationship business, and that's what I love doing about this business. I love being around the people. And you know what's crazy about that is I'm kind of really an introvert by nature. You know, if I'm just in crowds of people, it's not what I like to do, but I love being in families of people. And this is a family. And no matter where I go around the world, this is a family, and that I enjoy. I don't enjoy crowds, but I enjoy family. And, you know, when I come to Europe, that's my family. When I go to Asia, that's my family. When I go to Africa, that's my family. All around the world with World Ventures. And, you know, Efrosini kind of said, I've been around this thing since the beginning. You know, if you don't know, I've been here almost 15 years now. And that sounds great. If you're new and you're thinking, wow, that's great. He got to be here in the beginning. He's so lucky. No, that's not the way it was. See, it was a startup. It didn't have the things we see today. It wasn't the company that we see today. It was a lot of potential there with a lot of great people, with Wayne leading the way, Wayne Nugent, our founder, leading the way. And I remember going to that first introduction meeting about what this was all about. They kind of launched the company in Las Vegas, Nevada, and there was about 500 people there. And I happened to be one of them. And the way I got there is I knew somebody who knew Wayne Nugent. And through them, I'd been introduced to Wayne a couple of years prior to that. And so I got invited to come look at this ideal. And I remember Wayne sitting on the stage, first ever World Ventures meeting, and laying out the vision of what this company was going to be. And he would say stuff like this. He would stand on that stage. About 500 people were in the audience, about 500. And he would say, man, someday we're going to have these things called dream trips. And we're going to take a trip of a lifetime monthly. That was his pitch, a trip of a lifetime monthly. And we're like, and he told us what it was going to be all like, what the trips are going to be like. We're going to have a host, we're going to have culture, we're going to have all this stuff. We're like, that is incredible. Where are we going? And he said, we don't have any yet, but we will. And then he said, we're going to have a website where you can book other types of travel. If you want to go to a hotel, you need to rent a car, you can have that too. We're like, that's awesome. What's the name of that website? We don't have that yet either. And see, he stood up there and laid out the vision of this company. See, and that's why I like to tell that story, because it's about vision. See, we're 14 and a half, almost 15 years old. And do you have the vision to go to the next level with this company? Because back then, there were 500 people that could have really taken advantage of this. They could have really taken, but see, we didn't have everything in place. Not everything went right. Let me give you a clue. For the rest of your life, in everything you do, not everything's going to go right. And that's where a lot of people pack up before the good things happen. See, those 500 people, a lot of them packed it up. They aren't here today. In fact, I don't know out of the 500 how many are here, but I'm pretty sure it's less than 50. So there's 500 people sitting in a room with a company that's getting ready to launch, that's getting ready to do billions of dollars. We have done billions of dollars since then. There's 500 people sitting in a room with a company that's getting ready to get on the Inc. 5000, top 15%. There's 500 people sitting in a room with a company that's getting ready to be the largest travel club in the world, but nobody knows it right then because they didn't have the vision. But there was a guy on stage named Wayne that had this vision. And some of us caught the vision with him. And some of us came out of there and got rich. See, there were names in there. There were people in there like Jefferson Santos. He caught the vision. Martin Ruoff. he caught the vision. Carrie and Leisha Snyder, they caught the vision. Byron Straub, he caught the vision. But see, there was a guy named Danny Garcia. He didn't catch the vision. Danny was probably the most talented guy in that room. He didn't catch the vision. What is he doing today? I don't know. I don't know. I haven't heard. I haven't seen anything big. But I know this: talent, potential. And see, without vision, potential and talent means nothing. So here's what I'm saying is, where are we going from here? See, because my story was this. Effersini kind of said it. When I saw this idea, I was in a little different situation than a lot of people that were in that room. My situation was, I was already making a lot of money. Anesthesia is the highest paid profession in America. Has been for years and years. I own that practice. So I was making a lot of money, but as Effersini said, it came at a price. I had no time. I was working 80 to 100 hours a week. I was on call 24/7. And by law, because we had a labor and delivery department in that hospital, by law, I couldn't get more than 20 minutes from the hospital. That was my life, making tons of money, tons of money. Let me ask you a question. What good is money if you have no time? And so when I sat there and Wayne put the vision out, for me, I started thinking, what if? Because he started talking about this thing called residual income. And it's different than the residual income. A residual dollar is different than a dollar. And he started talking about how a residual dollar was different than a dollar. But if I do it one time and do it right, and it'll keep paying me over and over and over and over again. You know what happened? That was almost 15 years ago. There was stuff that happened right out of that meeting. I went and recruited some people into this business. I still get paid for that today, almost 15 years later. See, by contrast, I did a lot of anesthesia 15 years ago, and guess how much I get paid for that today? Nothing. See, that's trading time for dollars. I wanted residual income. That's what happened. So I went to work. Came out of there, caught the vision in, went to work, and about 18 months into this, okay, I'm already an IND. I went IND in 12 months. 12 months later, I'm an IND. But you know what? I'm still working anesthesia full time. People ask me all the time, why were you still working anesthesia full time? Two reasons. Number one, if you're a fan of Jim Rohn, he always says, don't give up your story too early. See, I had a good story. I'm working 80 to 100 hours a week, and I went IND. See, I didn't want to give that story up too early. But then the second reason, and this one is the real reason, I'm making a lot of money. It took a lot of money to replace that. See, I couldn't just give it up making $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month, $20,000 a month. I couldn't give up anesthesia. I had to make more. I had to make more than that. So I'm IND, and at 18 months in, Effersini kind of said this. See, I'm in World Ventures. I am all in. But World Ventures isn't in me yet. I'm still, at this point, I'm an IND, and I'm still the guy that if you ask me who I am, I'm the anesthesia guy doing this travel thing on the side. That's who I was. Because World Ventures wasn't in here yet. See, but then about 18 months in, a little before that, something happened. My wife and I adopted a baby. And man, it changed everything for me. Because what I started seeing was this vision. I started getting this vision in my head of what my life could look like, what I could do differently. Because if I didn't quit doing anesthesia, if I still had to do anesthesia, I was still going to work 80, 100 hours a week, and my wife was going to raise that baby that we waited so long to have. My wife was, see, I wanted to raise that kid full time. You know what I did yesterday? He's 12 years old now. What I did yesterday is I took him, we have 6,000 acres out here in Oklahoma that we hunt and fish and do stuff on. I took him, his best friend, and my wife, and we went out there all day on and got dirty and fished on a pond. I don't know if you know, a little pond out there. We fished all day on a little bitty boat. Well, we got a big boat, but see, what I like to do is get away where nobody is with my family and raise my child full time. Teach him the lessons of life. Just soak that up, man. Because see, we're not promised every day, are we? We're not promised tomorrow. We're not promised anything. And so I want to make every day count. And I think that's what you want. So we adopted that baby, and my heart changed. See, World Ventures became here. And here changed too, because before that, I was the anesthesia guy doing the travel thing. And when it got in my heart, I became the travel guy doing the anesthesia thing part-time. And I couldn't wait to get rid of it. And 18 months, just over 18 months into it, I started making enough money here that I was able to say, time for me to walk away. I walked away from anesthesia 18 months in. I haven't done an anesthetic in over 12 years now. Life has radically been different. Oh, you know, we still make money. We still make a lot of money with World Ventures. But see, the difference is now I can go to the farm. I can go fishing when I want. I can go raise my kid full-time when I want. See, this is what I want. And so what I'm saying to you is, do you have that vision from right now where we are today? See, this pandemic has kind of screwed with everybody's head. And then, oh, travel. I'm going to give you some reasons. Okay, I'm going to give you some reasons. Travel. Well, nobody's traveling right now. I just went to the airport and nobody was even there. You're talking about, do you have the vision? Because travel is the largest industry in the world. It ain't going nowhere. This too shall pass. Do you have the vision to take it from where it is right now to where we're going in the next 5, 10 years? See, where we're going is we're becoming the biggest and the best. There's going to be nobody bigger than us. In this industry, nobody. And so do you have that vision? And so, see, when I go around the country and people are starting teams, it's crazy. It doesn't matter if I'm in Europe. It doesn't matter if I'm in Asia, Australia, Africa, the United States, Canada. It doesn't matter where I go. I get the same questions over and over. And one of them that I get almost every single time I go somewhere, here somebody will kind of come up to me and kind of say, hey, Troy, what do I do to motivate my team? You ever heard that one? What do I do to motivate my team? Man, I'm ready to go. What do I do? What do I say? What do I say to motivate my team? Let me just tell you this. I've done this almost 15 years. I don't know what to say to motivate your team. I haven't figured it out. I don't think Eric Grzybowski knows what to say to motivate. I don't think Efrosini knows what to say to motivate her team. I don't think Stavros knows. I don't think Sasha knows. I don't think any of these, Glenda knows. I don't think anybody knows what to say to motivate their team. See, it's not what you say to motivate your team, it's what you do. See, 15 years ago, I figured it out. Is that I was trying to get people to do the things I wanted them to do, and they just wouldn't do it. And then all of a sudden, I got frustrated, and I just went to work, put my head down, and went to work, and didn't care what anybody else was doing at that. And you know what I saw? People started following me. When I started really going at it and saying, it's up to me, people started following. It's my actions that motivate people. It's not what I say, it's my actions. People don't do what you say, they do what you do. Okay? Now, what is the action? What is the action that makes a difference? Again, I'm going to try to simplify this as much as I can. What's the action, Troy? Okay, you're talking about my action. So I've got everything organized. I'm making my post every day. Whatever. You're doing all this other stuff. I've got my flow charts. I'm doing. It doesn't matter. None of that matters if you're not doing one thing over and over again. You know what it is? Show another one. Who are you showing today? Who's showing 3 times a day? Who's showing 5 times a day? Show another one. That's the action. When I got my head down and I just started showing people, all of a sudden these people that were standing around, they were watching me showing people, and they started showing people. I told them to show people, but they didn't. But when I just kind of put my head down and went, they went. See, it's the sorting part of this business that makes money for us. Nothing else really makes money. Sorting. We are professional sorters. Now, there's a lot of side things that we do, that make money indirectly. But the money-making activity is sorting through people. Show another one, show another one, show another one. Now, see, this is a formula that you might want to write down. This is the one I've used for 15 years. 15 years ago, I put this up and I said, this is going to be my mantra. This is what I know in everything in my life, whether it was doing anesthesia. I've been successful in most things I've done. And it's not because I'm better than most people. It's because my mindset, for whatever reason, when I was young, I had this mindset. And here's really what it was. Urgency plus consistency over time will get you where you want to go. So let's put it in this way for World Ventures. Urgency plus consistency over time equals IMD. Urgency plus consistency over time equals IMD. Here's what I know. If you leave one of those out, you leave out IMD. So you might want to write that one down. Urgency plus consistency over time equals IMD. Leave one out, leave it all out. See, this is where most people fail. People will be urgent for a short amount of time. People will be urgent sporadically. They won't be urgent consistently over time. You know what I'm saying? It's got to be over time consistency. It's got to be that thing. That's what I've been. That's what most IMDs, if you ask them, that's what got. See, isn't it funny that some IMDs will tell their story and they'll say, you know what? I was in for a year and I didn't do much, and then all of a sudden I made a decision and something changed. You know what changed? Urgency plus consistency over time equals IMD. That's it. So if this is you sitting here and you're trying to make a decision right now and you're saying, okay, what? I want to make a decision. I want to do it. Usually the next thing you say is, what do I do to motivate my team? You don't. It's your actions. You don't say anything. You just go to work. Urgency, consistency over time. Showing this thing. Now, if you're going to go to work doing something, and you're going to put in the kind of work it takes to be IMD, because let me tell you, let me just be real with you. It's hard. It's hard. Because most of you got a job, most of you have other commitments, and you're doing this in the beginning, most of you, part-time. And so you got to be urgent and consistent over time, part-time. And you got to make it priority. Remember this? I was the anesthesia guy doing travel on the side. When I became the travel guy doing anesthesia, I'm still working 80 to 100 hours a week, but in my mind, that's my temporary deal. Anesthesia was my temporary deal. Travel, World Ventures was my permanent deal. I changed my mindset. So if you're going to do something like that, I think you want to do it with something that you know is worth doing. I want to get good at something that's worth getting good at. World Ventures is that deal. See, again, I want you to have the vision to know we've done billions of dollars here, but we haven't even scratched the surface. We got so many things getting ready to be big and huge here with us. It's unbelievable. So are you ready to take that next leap? So let's talk about why travel, why World Ventures right now, because, you know, this pandemic thing, like I said earlier, is screwed with a lot of people's head. It's got a lot of people thinking, wow, travel, really? Let me talk to you about a few things. See, you can go on the internet and you can search how many searches of Google is done on a certain topic. So when the pandemic hit, we went and searched how many people are searching for home-based businesses on Google around the world over a 12-month period. So 12 months ago, 12 months before the pandemic, there was a spot of how many searches, or there was a number, how many searches around the world for home-based businesses. And for 12 months, that search, that chart, that graph stayed flatline. Same amount for 12 months. Then the pandemic hits, and guess what happened to the amount of searches? A straight up vertical spike. People went crazy searching for home-based businesses. So here's what I'm telling you. See, the pandemic, it's horrible. I hate it. I hate being cooped up here. I can't wait to travel. I can't wait to be on a dream trip with some of you.
Me too.
It sucks. But here's what I'll tell you. It's done some good for us too. I know that people have died, and I'm not downplaying that. And I hate it. I know people have lost their jobs. I know people financially have been hurt. But see, there's going to be some good come out of it. There's going to be a lot of good if you choose. And one of the things that's happening right now, I've been saying it for 3 months since the pandemic's been around. Corona's been around. I've been saying, when this ends, travel's going to explode. It's going to explode. Travel's the largest industry in the world, nothing even close, largest industry in the world, and it's that one product that's an inherent yes. I don't have to convince people they want to go see the world God created for them. I don't have to convince your kids they want to go to Disney World. It is an inherent yes. Yes, I want to go. And when we're cooped up in our home and can't see people for the last 3.5 months, it is really an inherent yes. It is a huge inherent yes. And people want to go to a beach. People want to go play golf. People, whatever you want to do, they want to do it. I'm going to prove it to you. If you go look in the last month, something happened in travel that was very significant. And it's what we've been saying. Carnival Cruise Line. See, there's lots of cruise lines, but Carnival's one of those giants, right? And there's lots of other travel places. But Carnival Cruise Line last month opened up their bookings for the month of August. They said, okay, you can go book cruises for August. You want to know what happened? If you haven't seen it, you need to go look at it. Carnival Cruise Line, the month of August, their bookings from last August, okay, they compared last August to this August because they opened it up for the first time. It went up 600% overnight. 600%. Now, it's probably more than that right now, but that was overnight. Their booking, they just flooded the market with bookings. Now, when all these other places open up, that's going to happen there too. See, travel's an inherent yes. And we're the largest travel club in the world. We've done billions of dollars. And in this world of network marketing, there's been a lot of people try to do what we do. And guess what? They haven't done it. There's people trying right now. It's not happening. Now, I'm okay with competition. It makes us better. That's great. But they got 14 years to try to catch up on what we're doing. And travel's very complicated too. Doing what we do. Marrying it with network marketing and travel, that's a complicated business. We've got the deal. So if you're going to get good at something, get good at something worth getting good at. Now, I want to talk more about the pandemic and just us. Because remember I said there's only one activity, only real one activity that makes us money, and that's the sorting activity. That's the action. Show another one, show another one. Now, I know you on this right now, there's people from Europe, there's people from everywhere. Africa, Oceania, there's people from everywhere on this call right now. But here's what I know, because I've been around the world doing this. I've talked to you, most of you. I've been around the world, and our system pretty much, we do things different here and there, but your system in Asia, your system in Europe, is just like here in America. For the most part, we were doing, before the pandemic, we were doing live. I know we were doing some Zooms and stuff. We were doing live one-on-ones and two-on-ones. We were doing live travel parties. We were doing live big shop meetings. Okay, that was our system. Now, we threw in some Zooms and some other stuff, but I would say 90-some% of what we did were those three things. Live one-on-one, two-on-one, live travel parties, live big shop meetings. Now, then the pandemic hit. See, I talked at United and I said, you gotta be able to adapt. Adaptation is my competitive advantage. I said that at United. That's it's your competitive advantage. If you're able to adapt, it's a competitive advantage. So the pandemic forced us to adapt or we perish. Now, what I saw happen when pandemic happened is I saw some teams that were doing really well. I saw them kind of decline. That's going to happen. They didn't adapt. But I saw some teams that were doing really well even do better. They adapted. You know what I saw, though? I saw a bunch of teams. This was crazy. I saw a bunch of teams that weren't doing really well. All of a sudden, when the pandemic hit, they adapted. It was like their decision. They made that decision. They said, okay, I'm going to do it. And they adapted to the new deal. And boom, they took off. Now, what they adapt to? See, live one-on-ones, two-on-ones, travel parties, and big shop meetings. That's what we're doing. But when we adapted, during the pandemic, I saw something happen. People adapted right off the bat, most teams, and they started doing Zoom. Now there's webinar jam, whatever you like to do, but I'm going to call them Zooms, and that encompasses everything. They were doing Zoom big shot meetings. And let me explain. I was guilty of this too. I called all my team, my team that I work with on a daily basis, and I said, hey, we're going to start doing team Zooms. So let's call those big shot Zooms. So I had my leaders doing 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, Zooms every day. And we started growing, and those teams caught on. But then I saw something I didn't like. We adapted, but we didn't adapt good. Remember, before we were doing live one-on-one, two-on-ones, live travel parties, live big shot meetings. When we adapted to the Zoom, because we couldn't do live anymore, we went right to the big shot. I didn't see many of the Zoom one-on-ones and the Zoom travel parties going on. It wasn't happening. And what I saw was only big shot meetings happening. If you don't have the one-on-ones and two-on-ones and travel parties feeding into the big shot meetings, eventually the big shot meetings kind of go down in attendance. They aren't as exciting. They don't have as many new people on them. So I made another adaptation. You might need to make this one. I called my group up and I said, okay, we got to really focus on something here. We got to focus on Zoom one-on-one, two-on-ones, and travel launch parties. And so my team adjusted. And the ones that I saw adjust, their numbers started spiking again. The ones that didn't adjust, see, it's about adapting. That's all it is. Now, here's why I'm saying this to you. And I said, we are very fortunate in one aspect that the pandemic hit. It forced most of us to start doing Zooms or webinar jams or whatever. See, before this, I can't speak to every country, but I know here in the U.S., before the pandemic, if I said to most of my friends or most of the people I know, hey, let's jump on a Zoom, they would look at me like I had two heads. They don't know what a Zoom is. They didn't have a clue what a Zoom is. They didn't know how to use it. They didn't have the app downloaded. They didn't have any of it. But today, post-pandemic, 3.5 months later, I say to those same people, hey, let's jump on a Zoom. They know exactly how to do it. You know why? Because their work is having them use Zoom. Their kids are using it to do schoolwork. They've all adapted to Zoom. See, this fits us very well. So here's what I'm saying. This too shall pass. We're getting ready to come out of the pandemic. We already started it. We're coming out of the pandemic. But remember, coming out of this pandemic, you're going to have to adjust it again. We're going to go back to live. But are you going to keep the Zoom arsenal in your weapon book? Of course you are. Of course you are. So how do you adapt to do it all? Because remember, I believe this with everything in me. We are still the personal relationship business. Oh, we can build on Zoom, but where's the culture? Where's that personal touch? See, if you've been to a World Ventures event, a big event, if you went to the last big event in Europe, you got to know there's a lot of culture there. You got to know that when you get there, there's a family there, isn't there? See, if you haven't been to one yet, you need to go. Boot camp's coming up, by the way. Boot camp's coming up. I know it's virtual, but it's coming up. And it's just as important, and the familyship happens even there. See, I'll tell you something about that. WhatsApp groups while you're doing the virtual events are awesome for your team. Have your WhatsApp going while the event's going on, it's awesome. Now, so adjusting back to those Zooms, now we're adjusting, we got it adapted. So I want you to really think about one-on-one Zooms, travel party Zooms, not just the big shot Zooms right now. Then adapting when it all comes back. We're not going to just get rid of Zooms, or we're not going to just do only Zooms. We're going to do it all. We're going to do the live one-on-ones, two-on-ones. We're going to do the Zoom one-on-ones, two-on-ones. We're going to do the live travel parties, launch parties. We're going to do the Zoom launch party, live party, travel parties. And we're going to do the live big shot meetings and the Zoom big shot meetings. We're going to do it all. And see, if you're the team or the teams that adapt, you win the biggest. If you show the most action, Troy, what do I do? What do I say? You show your team. Here's the action. This is what we do. Now, let's go back to boot camp. Now we're showing. Now we got a team going. Now we got people coming on, and Troy, what do I do to get them motivated? Well, it's your action. First of all, I hope you're already signed up for boot camp.
Yes.
If you're not signed up, if you're wanting to lead, if you're wanting to change your life right now, and you're not already signed up for boot camp, you're missing it. You're missing the boat. Let me tell you why, man. Because when I'm talking to my team, and this has been for 15 years, 14 years, I didn't go to my first event. I'll talk about that here a little bit. If you aren't the first one signed up, so you can say to your team, and let's say your team is 2 people. If you can't say to those 2 people, I'm going, or you going, I'm already signed up, or you signed up, how are you going to promote this? See, look, if some of you are like me, and I hope nobody's like me when I was in the beginning. Remember, I wanted it here, but I didn't have it here yet. And I remember when I got the first event was promoted. And I remember thinking to myself, they promoted it, and they told us why we need to go. I was on this call. I remember thinking to myself, I don't need to go to that training. I've been to all kinds of trainings. I don't need it. I don't need it. In fact, I don't need to go listen to somebody else. Who's this Marcus Setta guy? I don't need to go listen to some Marcus Setta guy. I don't even know who that is. I'm not going. And I didn't go. And see, I'm working hard. I got my work ethic. I got one thing going for me. I got a good work ethic. I'll go to work. So I thought, I'm just going to outwork everybody. Well, they're out playing and going to some party. That's what I thought, some party training deal, because they said it was going to be fun. I'm like, you can't have fun at a training. I'm not going to go fun. I'm not doing that. It's Marcus Setta guy. I don't need to listen to him. So I thought, I'm just going to outwork them. While they're playing, I'm going to work. So I worked. And you know what? I had success. I had a lot of credibility with the people around me, so I was having success. And then right after that training, I was still having success, but then I would get on these calls that we had. Remember, we had these calls, kind of like this call. And I started hearing about people that were outrunning me. I knew of them. I'd met them one time. Remember the launch deal? I'd met a few people, and I heard about this one guy. And I'm like, they kept talking about him on these calls and how his team was exploding. And he was like, and he started giving numbers. I'm like, what? I know he's not outworking me. He might be as smart as me, but he's not smarter than me. What's he doing? So I had his number. I met him at that launch event. You know, when we all went, the 500 people went, I met him there. So I called him up. I said, hey, man, what are you doing? What's going on that's making your team explode like this? And he goes, Troy, he goes, it's the craziest thing. This is crazy. He goes, you know, I wasn't going to go to the training. And he said right before the day, 2 days before the training, the owner of the company called me up and I answered. And he said, when I answered, the first thing he said to me, he goes, hey, I can't wait to see you at the training. You're going to be there, right? And he said, Troy, I lied. I said, yeah, I'm going to be there. I wasn't going. He goes, but I lied to him. I said, yeah, I'll be there. I'll see you. He said, I hung up and I'm like, man, I got to go now. I got to go to this training. So he said, I went and he said, I lived in Los Angeles. The training was in Dallas. I had to go get a flight. It was the day before. So he called me that 2 nights before. The next day I had to go get the flight. He said, it cost me a lot of money. He goes, Troy, you know, I didn't have the money. I was a waiter. I waited tables. He goes, I didn't have the money. I put it on a credit card. He said, but I went to that training, and he goes, I went. I had nobody on my team there. I was the only one on my team. He said, and I went there, and the whole time I was listening to this Marcus Setta guy, he said, the only thing I could think of was, I'm an idiot. I sat there the whole training, and I took notes, but the whole time I just thought, I'm an idiot. And I said, what do you mean you're an idiot? He goes, all I could think about is, I'm listening to the greatest training I've ever been to. I've never experienced anything like this, and I'm the only one sitting here on my team. He said, what an idiot I was. I didn't take anybody on my team. He said, so what I did, Troy, when I got done with that training, I flew home, And I had an emergency call with my entire team. And he goes, my team wasn't very big at that point, but I called every one of them and I apologized to them. I said, listen, I made a huge mistake. I should have tried to convince every one of you to go to that training with me. He said, it was so incredible. And he said, I apologized to every one of them. And he goes, Troy, the next training, I took a bunch of people. He goes, and that's when it exploded. He goes, I took a lot of people. He goes, for example, I took this one couple. I just met them. I didn't know them very long. I called them up and said, sorry, you guys, I missed it. You guys need to go this next training with me. He said they went and they came home and they put in 400 people the next month. I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, I guess. I said, what is their name? He said, Dave and Yvette Yaloa. If you don't know their IMDs today. The guy that's telling me the story, his name was Martin Ruoff, waiter from California. And I haven't missed a training since that day. See, Martin told me a story that changed his life and changed his business and changed his family tree forever. And because of that story, it changed my family tree forever. See, trainings this is what we do. I haven't missed a training since. I'm the first one signed up every time because I want to look you right now and say, I'm going. You going? See, that's what got Martin there. If the owner hadn't called him, I don't know. If the owner hadn't called Martin, I might not be sitting here right now because that story was a big part of my story. And so boot camp's coming up. And yeah, it's virtual. And yeah, I wish it was going to be live because I love being around family. I told you I'm an introvert, don't want to be around groups of people, but I love coming to our events. I love being around you. See, because we're a family. We got something in common. We got a common goal we're going to. I got something inside of me that I think I can give to you. And so at your boot camp, you have Marcus Sun. Yeah, he's not there with you, but he's going to be with you. It's a guy that changed my life. I was just with him 2 days ago. And I got to tell you something about Mark right now. See, Mark's always good. He's always on his game. There's something different about Mark right now. See, he's like the rest of us. He can't wait to get out and get going again and go. And so he's got like a renewed energy that I haven't seen in a while. And listen, Mark's the best of the best of the best. But I'm telling you right now, he's on his game. And he's brought some trainers to this Europe boot camp. He's got two of my favorite. I'm going to say this. I'm not going to say, I hear people say this is my favorite trainer. I'm going to say it this way. The next two guys I'm going to talk about, they're both in my top 5 of trainers I like to listen to in World Ventures. Okay? My top 5. I'm putting both these guys in my top 5. Matt Morris, top 5 for me. See, you brought the screen up. Matt Morris, top 5. He's the ultimate pro. The unemployed millionaire. You guys have heard his story. It's an incredible story. But he brings something, and if you haven't heard Matt speak, he just brings something special to the table that's incredible. And so Matt's one of your trainers. He's got one of the largest teams in all of World Ventures. He goes around the world speaking. He's the pros pro. If you want to know how to do this, Matt's going to be in there teaching. One of my top 5. But along with him, Eric Grisbowski, special place in my heart. Eric, he's actually on my team. But here's the thing a lot of people don't know about Eric. In the very beginning, Eric and I worked a lot together. So when I watch Eric, man, there's stuff that I see from those early years that's from early years. And I remember Eric this is another story about training, okay? I remember being at a training early on, and Eric Grisbowski had some success. He was either like an RMD, NMD type person, and we're in Las Vegas, Nevada at an event, and I look over, I'm in the back because I'm training at that event, and I look over, Eric's not a trainer yet, and I see Eric standing in the back of the room in the corner by himself, and I can tell there's something not right. And I was listening to one of my team members who had just hit a big rank do their story up on stage. And I'm listening, and Eric's listening. But I can tell there's something not right. And I walk over to Eric and I say, hey, what's up, man? And he looked at me with a different look that I'd ever seen in his eye. And here's what he said. He goes, I'm either getting ready to really do this thing or I'm quitting. He goes, I'm not going to play around with this anymore. I'm either going to do it or I'm quitting. He goes, but I'm going to go do it. And he left that event. He flew to Chicago, and he sponsored one of his high school buddies named Roscoe Taylor. And today that team, it's called Team Rhino. I don't know how many are on that team, but there's, I'd say over 100,000 easily. And I'm probably not even close to that. But Eric, since that day, has become a beast like I've never seen. He always had this special thing inside of him, but that day changed him. And I'm telling you, when you hear Eric train, when you get to hear him train, and he gets to bring what – I was just with Eric too. I just sat with Eric and talked to him about some of the stuff I just talked about. He is so dialed in right now. And you guys have Mark Cassetta, Matt Morris, and Eric Grzybowski. And then on top of that, somebody I just met, in fact, I got to train with for the first time, Bakhtiari. I got to train with her at Momentum in the U.S. We brought her into the U.S. Listen, I knew who she was, but I didn't know anything about her. I knew she was having big success, and I was like, okay, who is it? I asked Mark, okay, who is she? Where's she from? What? And he told me. I knew her name, and I knew she was having success. And he goes, man, get ready. You're going to be blown away. I'm going to tell you what, man. She got on that stage, and she owned it. And so for you guys in Europe, she told a story about how she got to where she's going, and she was incredible. And so for you guys in Europe to have Mark Cassetta, Matt Morris, Eric Grzybowski, Bakhtiari, come on. If you're not signed up right now, you got to get signed up right now, because this is our business. This is what we do. See, so let me close with saying this. All these things I talked about sound easy to do. Hey, lead with action. What's your action? Show another one. Do it until people start following you. And then when they start following you, get them to events. This is all easy. It's not easy. It's easy to say, it's hard to do. I keep doing it. People say, Troy, but I didn't get all my team to the event. Me either. I don't need them all. I just need the right ones. I need another one today. I need to get another one to the event today. But here's what keeps driving me to go show another one and get another one to the event. It's the dream. See, I had a dream 14 years ago, 15 years ago. I shared that dream with you. I wanted to raise my child full time. I wanted to go fishing yesterday. I wanted to do that. That was my dream. But see, I got new dreams. I got these dreams. And see, the dream doesn't matter until it just hurts when you think about it. It's got to be so burning desire inside of you that it hurts, man. And if you have that dream that's big enough that the obstacles don't get in the way, your dream's so big that when that obstacle comes, because the obstacle is coming, when it gets so big that it doesn't bother you, then you can have the prize on the other side. So you got the dream and you got the prize. But in the middle, between those two, is always the obstacle, which creates the struggle, which creates people quitting. The dream, the prize, obstacle in the middle. You got obstacles. I got obstacles. Is your dream big enough? The obstacle doesn't matter. See, that's what you got to know. That's what keeps you going day after day after day. That's what gets you to the next level. That's what gets you to be Eric Grzybowski. That's what gets you to be Matt Morris. That's what gets you to be Bakhtiari. If you don't have the dream, you ain't got a shot, because the struggle is coming. I don't know what your struggle is. I'm working a lot of hours. That was mine. It's a struggle. Hey, Troy, I'm only 18 years old. Nobody will listen to me. That's a struggle. Hey, Troy, whatever. I'm financially, that's a struggle. I don't know what your struggle is, but I know you got one. If you don't have one right now, you're going to have one along the way to IND. That's just the way it is. Okay? So, is your dream big enough? Let me just tell you this one thing. See, my son, I told you I want to raise him full time. I remember this just not too long ago. He came home from school. This is the prize for me. This is the prize. That's what I wanted. My son comes home from school. He goes, "Hey, Dad, I got to do a speech at school." I go, "Oh, okay, cool. Sure. What are you going to do the speech on?" He goes, "Well, teacher said it's got to be about somebody famous, and I got to act like I'm them. I'm doing the speech like I'm them." And I go, well, who she say you got to do it on? She goes, I can do it on anybody except they got to be famous. And he said, they got to be dead or almost dead. Now, I don't know what almost dead is, but that's what my son said. They got to be dead or they got to be famous and dead or almost dead. I said, well, who are you going to do it on? He goes, I don't know. He said, who should I do it on that? I said, I'm not picking, you pick. So the next day he comes home and he goes, I got it. I know who I'm going to do my talk on. I said, who, Trick? He said, Martin Luther King, Dr. Martin Luther King. I said, that's awesome. Now, I don't know how he picked Dr. Martin Luther King. I didn't tell him. He said, I'm going to do it on Dr. Martin Luther King. I said, do you know who Dr. Martin Luther King is? You know about him? He goes, I know a little bit. I said, tell me a little bit. And he told me a little bit. And you know what? He knew the basics. I said, let's go watch a YouTube video of Dr. Martin Luther King. So we went and watched his speech, I Have a Dream. We went and watched it, me and my son, and we stopped it and we talked a little bit. I have a dream. This is my dream. And so I said, so we watched it all. I said, you got it, Trick? He goes, yeah, go put your speech together. I didn't help him. He went and put together. I'm kind of nervous for him. And then about a week later, they have this event. And all the kids had to come in and do their speech. And I went to the school to watch all the kids. Some of them were this person and that person. But my son was Dr. Martin Luther King. And when he got up there, I was nervous, man. By the way, there was a lot of parents in there. But you know what? There were a lot of moms in there. You know how many dads were in there watching? Because it was the middle of the day. You know how many dads were in there? Me. Lots of moms and me. And so Trig went up there, did his speech, and when he got done, man, he was awesome. I was like, Trig, that's incredible. I'm so proud of you. I said, I'm so proud of you, Trig. Here's what we're going to do. I said, next week, you did so good. Next week, we're skipping school. You're not going to school next week. And his eyes got real big. He goes, what? I go, yeah. He goes, why? I said, because we're going to go. I'm going to take you to Washington, D.C. Your mom and I and you, we're going to fly to Washington, D.C. And I want you to do that speech again. But this time, I want you to do it on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, right where Dr. Martin Luther King did his speech. I want you to do it right there and experience what he experienced. So we went there. And we went to the Lincoln Memorial right there by the Washington Monument. I showed my son pictures of what happened when Dr. Martin Luther King was there. I said, here's where this stood. Here's where he stood. And there's a plaque on the steps. There's a plaque on the Lincoln Memorial that says Dr. Martin Luther King stood right here when he gave the speech. And I said, Trig, stand right there on that plaque. And I videoed him standing looking right there. And he did that speech. And see, this was the payoff for me. Do you want your kids to read about stuff like that? Or do you want your kids to experience stuff like that? See, if I was still doing anesthesia, I would have read a book to him about Dr. Martin Luther King. But because I did World Ventures, I let him feel it. So how big's your dream? Thanks for having me come on. Appreciate you guys. I can't wait till I get to come to Europe or your part of the world and experience our family together in person and touch and feel and love. Thank you very much. Appreciate you guys.
Hey, thank you very much, Troy. You have been an example to us. Imagine a professional anesthesiologist. And now he makes probably 10 times more for when he was working the 80, 100 hours a week. Not only that, he has his time and freedom to do whatever he wants, whenever he wants it, and he still goes to conventions. So I just want to touch bases with you. There's a few one coming, and I hope you do, take care of, those. For my birthday in July, we're going to have one in July, but soon. You got 13 days for a free one in North America. You can register now, Saturday, June 13th. And another one in Spanish for all our South America. Remember, we are in 43 markets, over 192 nations, and we're expanding South America like never believe. We have Colombia, we have Brazil, we have Mexico. Your town is coming. That's going to be June 20th. So I hope that you do register as soon as you can, and let's start building Okay, let's start building now. And I hope to see you at the beaches of the world. Thank you very much for your time and your Saturday.